Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, the 6th of July. We are Dastardly Gentlemen. My name is Frank, and this is Neil. Say hello, Neil.
Hello.
Today, we're going to be talking about a subject that's very near and dear to my heart. We're going to be talking about PC versus console. PC master race versus console peasants. Neil, do you feel like you could speak on behalf of the console peasants?
I don't know why you would suggest that I could. The last
Uh,
console I bought was an Xbox 360.
so then, I mean, you know.
That was forever ago, and that's because I got sucked into the hype. So, do I regret buying a 360? No, it's served me well.
Did you go toot toot whenever you went on the hype train? Toot toot.
You know, I bought into that Halo and Call of Duty hype when it was hardcore, big on the scene. And then it died out, and then I was done with it.
So then, as a console peasant, let me ask you something. Did you very often find yourself accosted on Xbox Live with running a gamut of gentlemen who have had carnal relations with your mother, sometimes in dark corners and sometimes directly on your own desk?
That's oddly specific. Not on a regular basis, but there was the occasional 7-year-old that went off the handle because their parents were, not present. I did hear the occasional child being walked in on by their parents while they were calling everybody the N-word. And it's so sweet because it's just justice, you know?
It feels good because and the best part about some of the microphones, especially for the 360, is that there's not a readily accessible mute button.
Yeah.
So you get to hear the ass meter directly over Xbox Live, and it broadcasts to both teams.
Yes.
So it's delicious.
Glorious.
It is glorious. It's almost as glorious as my PC Master Race hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the one reason why I still have an Xbox 360 and haven't, put it in the attic to die, is because there are exclusive titles specifically on the 360. I mean, I don't know if they're on Xbox One, probably, but one in particular is Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Online Edition, which was amazing, and I'm glad it came out, but it didn't come out for anything else other than that and PlayStation 3. It needs to come to Steam, but I don't think it will. Even though it was made, I don't think it was made by Microsoft, but it was on the Xbox first, so it just needs to come to Steam because I don't want to keep on buying your fucking shitty consoles.
Strongly agree. Full disclosure, I basically own every system on the planet, except for the Xbox One,
Yeah.
because it's absolute fucking tosh, and I just don't want it. Okay, so you know how like it basically watches you.
Yep.
Look, when nobody's home, there's something. Xbox. I know that you've got Always Be On, but you might want to turn off for a minute.
Just turn your head.
Just turn your head because there's some things that you can't see. I'm not gonna say without any boasting aside that when I unzip Cthulhu is gonna come out, but you're gonna feel like it did.
Turn
The
your
serpent, the serpent's gonna swallow the moon when I unzip my ply. That's what I'm going with.
Just turn your head, plug your ears, Xbox Connect.
Yeah, yeah.
Some adulting is about to happen.
Some adulting. Yeah, that's one way to put it. Thumbs are gonna do things that you never thought thumbs could do.
How do you feel about exclusive titles, Frank?
I feel. Hold on, let me put my cape on. I feel exclusive titles are only the problem of the peasantry. No, I hate exclusive titles. I think that they're stupid because, especially now, before exclusive titles, it was like, as part of the glorious master race, you can go, exclusive title, pa, ta, and you just get we get shitty ports. So I mean, like, you can do that all you want to, but in all reality, we pretty much get like fucked over pretty hard whenever it comes to like console titles coming to PC. But now we've got shit like the Oculus and the Vive, whatever the fuck it's called, the Vive. Is it a vibe?
It's a vibe.
Vive?
Vive.
Why'd you have to Latinize it? Now I don't know how to say it anymore. I'm just gonna call it a vibe. Anyway, so you got the Oculus and you got the Vibe, and they've got into like they have exclusive titles. That's
Sure.
horse shit. That shouldn't happen on fucking PC. PC everybody should be if it comes out on PC, it should be PC.
Yeah.
Period. Unilaterally. I mean, like unless you're on a Mac, but then you're not on a PC anymore. So fuck you. Besides, you should probably grow up and get a real computer.
Yeah. I mean, what is this? What is this fucking Oregon Trail machine?
Mm-mm. No, I mean, I on the Oregon Trail that's MLG. If you go because if you don't go anybody other than the banker from Boston, you're basically playing it on hard mode.
Pretty much. Money talks, you know?
Do I really need to buy 44 cases of bullets? Well, there are a lot of Cherokee out there. I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize to all our Native American audience.
Oh my god. That was pretty terrible, Frank. So exclusive titles. Yeah, I think they're horseshit. I understand the need for competition in the gaming world. I get it. But when you have an exclusive title on, say, like the Xbox and the PlayStation and not the PC, it really is just dumbing everything down. It should honestly be the other way around because, and this is the one big argument that console peasants and PC master race has on a regular basis. When you put out a system like the Xbox, it is a piece of hardware that does not change. It is specifically made and mass distributed. So the specs for that piece of hardware, because it's basically a computer.
Right. A cheap one.
Yeah, a cheap one. And the specs for that hardware are the same for the next 3 to 4 years. Now, new video cards and new processors come out like bi-monthly. Like it's crazy how often they come out. And when you see games being made exclusively for PC, they either go retro, like Undertale for example, and just make it available for toasters, or they go full hog and fucking make it for the best piece of hardware out there.
Star Citizen.
Star Citizen. So they push the limits of what machines can handle. And a lot of times you get games out there that are so far advanced that most machines can't run them at max settings. So it gives you like a cushion of time so hardware will eventually catch up with it. Now, I feel all games should be made like that unless you're going retro. And then you dumb them down for the shitty consoles.
Right.
That's the way it should go, not the other way around.
You would think that it would make sense because the games are developed on a computer. So they would go right to PC.
Yeah.
Like it would be like PC would be like the literal blanket. So you ever take like crap water and you pour it through a sock so you can filter it and you get good water out of the bottom? You know?
No, I don't, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. You get my shit water. Get my sock filter. It could save your life. All I'm saying is that if you put enough indie titles into the sock, eventually you can get Undertale.
Sure.
I'm salvaging this metaphor. Just let me have this. Anyway, PC should get all of them. PC should get all titles, and then it should be there should be the uncle that hugs too long at the door that has the little "you must be this tall to ride the ride," and then those are the ones that can be on console.
Yeah.
Because you can only dumb it down so far for some titles. There's some technical wizardry that went into the Witcher being able to be on console.
Oh yeah.
Because that game is, especially considering how good it looks even on console. And even though it doesn't run at 60 FPS twitch. 60 FPS is kind of a big deal.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't think it's a big deal, you're part of the problem. Not only are you part of the problem, but you're also probably that guy that I teabag because you're playing on a shitty system and I run better than you. That really hurt. I can't machismo much.
Oh
My little
man.
chicken arms are too weak.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing. The whole console culture, I'm gonna call it that, and
It is. I mean, that's a very accurate term.
it, the enthusiasts in general, and even IGN has gotten on this fucking train, and it super irritates me, to where it's like, oh yeah, 30 FPS is better than 60 FPS because you
Cinematic
know,
quality.
cinematic quality, or I'm not gonna spend $3,000 on a PC to play this game. I'm gonna go buy a shitty piece of hardware and play it at basically the bottom of the barrel settings, and it's like, then you're a fucking filthy casual.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. Or
Yeah.
you are just settling for less. And by all means, just accept it. That's fine. But don't sit there and fucking glorify consoles when they are super subpar.
Oh yeah. Oh, big time.
So if you could just accept that and realize, you're settling for less, then I respect that. I'm cool with that. But stop fucking promoting your system and making game companies listen to your bullshit so that they can say yes, give me more money because you're buying my shitty product, because you will. You have made it a culture to buy shitty stuff. So
Yeah.
they're pandering to you because you let it happen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't dislike consoles just in general. Because I recognize that there are different tiers of player, I guess. And that's fine because I would much rather somebody be sit there play Call of Duty on an Xbox and I'll never have to hear about them, than like have them play Call of Duty on a PC and then I am now face to face with like a whole room full of literal motherfuckers. I don't want to deal with that. Let them be on console. Let them high five each other while they're playing Madden and spill Doritos and whatever, and then I'll be in here, you know, playing Star Citizen. I'm trying to think of something a little bit more highbrow, but it kind of defeated me. So, but I recognize the consoles have a place.
Sure.
What I do not like is I do not like whenever console people are essentially like, well, PC's not that great. I'm sorry. Explain to me how that's a thing. And this 24 frames a second, the movie quality. Oh, it's a cinematic quality. I don't know. When has that ever been like, I mean, it's 24 frames a second because it's extremely expensive to do it any other way. If
Sure.
they could do it any other way, they would. The Hobbit went literally doubled the frames per second and it looks spectacular.
Yeah.
So good. I mean, it's clear. The characters look better. I know a lot of people bitched about it because those are probably the same kind of people who probably bitch about stuff because it's new. These are the guys who would sign the Mutant Registration Act. Oh, you don't understand it. Blah, blah. Put that man's slightly a darker shade than me. We should put him in manacles. I dislike that. I dislike that's it's very backward thinking, and I find a lot of people, a lot of console
Yep.
defendists, is that a word? It's a word now.
Let's make it a word.
We're making it a word. I feel like a lot of console defendists are people that feel that anything other than what they're comfortable with is wrong, and you can have your Xbox, you can have your PC, you can have your PlayStation 4. I just don't want to see exclusives. I mean, and really, like the things that should drive the sales for a PlayStation versus an Xbox is solely hardware.
Sure.
I mean, like you can get this much bang out of your buck for the PlayStation 4. You can get this much bang out of your buck for the Xbox. Which one do you like more? Which one's additional features are going to sell you? Do you like Xbox Live more than you like the PlayStation Network? Probably because the PlayStation Network spends more time going down than fucking, I don't know, insert sex joke. But like the the communities really are what additionally sell it if your shtick is to be playing online.
Sure,
You know,
and I think that that's what's artificially boosting sales right now is really just brand loyalty. I know I give Nintendo a lot of shit lately, but this is one thing that Nintendo has done correctly, although they are failing miserably because of the brand loyalty by these people, and that's your common consumer. But Nintendo's like, okay, we've got a niche. We've got a specific way we do things. We've got a specific style to our console, and here's the cool things you can do with it. It's primarily kids games, okay? It's primarily party games. They're fun games to play, and here's all the features that come along with it. It's super unique. But then you've got PS4 and Xbox One, which are, let's be honest here, they're pretty much the same fucking thing.
hmm
They're just different brands. And when I remember when they were first being released, it was like a big, huge deal. Who can jerk off the most consumers during E3 or whatever to get the sales going. And it really was just giving them exactly what they wanted instead of just saying, hey, we're going to do something cool and innovative. And it was basically, no, we made a better piece of hardware, which is basically a computer,
hmm
and XYZ. It was nothing new. All it was newer graphics, better graphics, which is something the fucking PC had way ahead of that. I mean, they're talking about, 60 frames per second, 1080p, all this shit. I'm like, yeah, the consoles, I'm glad they're, it's getting up to par, but PC's been doing that for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where like when people remark about how fantastic the technology is in like the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox, a lot of PC users are like, okay. I mean that's a cute system that you've got. That's probably something I would hook up to let my nephew play something shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like the technology is just really super. I don't know. It's just not there. It's not there for consoles, and I mm, mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. The community drive is the only thing that's really keeping a lot of them afloat, and all the community hype. And Nintendo, Nintendo is to me out of all of them, Nintendo is the most egregious because they have fallen on the sword of hype
Yep.
and of supportive community where they've got like they have their huge following, and their huge following is this niche audience, and they want to strive for innovation because they feel like they're going to want to hit more of a niche audience. And I'm like, you do realize that at one point you're going to funnel a niche so much that they're going to have like 12 people in the world who give a shit about your titles.
Yeah.
And like they're mass consumers that really appreciated the games that they had before, that ran well, that had a good story, that took function over form, that didn't try to be glamorous, Link to the Past, Metroid, etc., that were the pinnacle of what their systems could do and the pinnacle of storytelling without being in your face storytelling. They're not doing that anymore, and they're really, I don't know, man. Like they're so hyped up. They're so hyped up on themselves
Yeah, and
that they can't get over it.
and that's what it is, and that's one of the things I was going to talk about was the downward trend of consoles in general. They're using graphics heavily as a crutch. You look at Assassin's Creed, you look at the new Castlevania games, you look at all this shit, and in comparison to how they were on the original PlayStation, Symphony of the Night, or what was that one that just came out recently?
Bloodstain.
Yeah, I mean, all about 3D and all this shit. And it's like, dude, Symphony of the Night was a side scroller, and that game was a goddamn masterpiece.
It's easily. I mean,
One,
like Symphony of the Night was amazing because it's like the voice acting wasn't that great,
yeah,
but the soundtrack was. The
yes,
story was fantastic, but it wasn't like forced down your throat. There was very few cutscenes of any kind through it, but like you got everything through the environment, and that was one of the big selling points in like a lot of other Nintendo titles, like Metroid. There was like no spoken lines. I think there was like the one blurb of text in the beginning and then the end in Super Metroid, and then everything else, the storytelling was all done through the environment.
yep, absolutely. And you had to make your own conclusions.
And it was wonderful. I mean,
Yes.
like it was truly. I mean, like whenever you go into the surface in Brinstar, and there's that space shuttle,
Yeah,
and like there's like all the you're like so like are they from Earth
yeah,
or like I mean and like you uncover like a bunch of things in Metroid and Zelda and all the other like old school Nintendo games that really kind of you had to it was like a choose your own adventure. you drew your own conclusions based on the evidence given to you, and nothing was ever spoon fed to you. And Symphony of the Night was very similar in its backstory and lore, versus like the main plot point, Alucard versus Dracula, the end.
Yeah.
So that was it. Everything else was environmentally given to you, and that was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the way games should be in general. You look at these games now, like I said, their graphics is what's driving all of the newer games, and it's basically you're playing a movie.
Hmm.
And I can appreciate that to a degree, but if I want to fucking watch a movie, I'll turn on a goddamn movie. I want to play a video game. I want to be immersed into the story. I want to be immersed into the environment. That's why, like, I don't understand how Assassin's Creed gets so much praise. I bought Brotherhood. I was basically like, why do people like this game so much? For the first hour is just backstory and tutorial, and I'm like, this is fucking dumb. I don't have time for this shit. I want to play the goddamn game.
Right.
And that's one of the things that like Skyrim did very well. And Skyrim is like you're playing a movie, but there isn't like, okay, I have no control of my character. There's a movie in front of me happening. No, you are the movie,
Yeah.
and that's perfect. And more games need to do that. I'm tired of reading blocks and blocks of text. If I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna play a legit RPG. Okay, I'm tired of watching a movie while I play a video game. That's one of the things, and I'm gonna reiterate this. I've said it before. I'll say it 100 times again. I don't care. The Super Nintendo was the greatest console of all time. Almost every game I've ever played on the Super Nintendo, and I'll say 90% were great, perfect. And there were some, real dog shit games out there on the Super Nintendo. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I mean, comparatively speaking, to today's standards, I mean, they're pretty. Even the dog shit ones are probably still pretty good
Yeah,
as far as like actual games go.
like if we're talking like if you were a betting man and you walked into Blockbuster when it was still a thing, and you walked over to the Super Nintendo section, and you just like covered your eyes and picked a game, odds are it's gonna be a decent game.
Yeah.
That is not how it is anymore.
No, not even a little. I mean, the Nintendo now is just like the guy that sits in the back of the room in like an old tweed suit that's got like too many ripped up elbows, and it goes, hey guys, you want to play some? Oh, and then they just kind of shuffle away, and then probably just sit there and cry and eat whatever leftover cake is there whenever Ubisoft gets done, whipping out their big dick Assassin's Creed moment. And Assassin's Creed, the thing about Assassin's Creed that I like it as a PC enthusiast that I can really appreciate is that Assassin's Creed really does push the bounds as far as technology and graphical fidelity.
Yeah.
And even though the game usually they push it so far that their shit breaks, like the environments that they create are so accurately representing the time frame and the environment that they're looking at, the target timeline for these games is just wonderful, and I think that's great. The rest of the game's just garbage. This is something. This is something that we can all high five over. Assassin's Creed is terrible on every platform. It's terrible on the PlayStation. It's terrible on the Xbox, and it's terrible on the PC because Ubisoft doesn't know how to make good games.
Yeah.
They just don't. They know how to reiterate. They know how to they know how to make you climb a tower to look at the environment and to unlock stuff. They know how to make an open world game that is so boring. So boring. Like, I could draw you a map of Skyrim. I beat Far Cry 3, and I couldn't tell you even where the fuck you start at.
Yeah.
I also can tell you that I don't give like this a single fuck about any of the characters that have ever existed in Far Cry. In Far Cry 3, Pagan Man and Voss, the villains. They're my beau. Okay, I love them, especially Voss. I loved him.
Was that the Mexican guy?
Yeah.
He gets a lot of praise. He's actually,
He was really good.
if you ever watch Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, he is Nacho. He is a very good villain in that as well.
My favorite part. I find sometimes I find favorite parts retroactively. Like, I didn't realize it was my favorite part at the time until like a bit later.
Sure.
I became so distraught with Far Cry 3 for multiple reasons. One, there's sharks in it, and that wasn't cool. Oh, and alligators. And I may have peed a little, but the when after I played it for a while and the game made no sense to me, how like he went from sort of like a probably a coke sniffing, probably had a Volcom flat brimmed hat and those cheap 99 cent neon sunglasses and probably a tank top. You know, that was the main character.
Yeah.
What the fuck his name was. That's how I imagine the main character. To being essentially machine gun Kelly Rambo ninja jitsu Jesus, hunting tigers and lions and bullshit in the jungle, able to treat wounds on himself. Motherfucker breaks an arm and he just resets it like ain't no thing. You know? I mean, like, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. I became so cross with this fucking character. I wanted to replay the intro so I could watch his fucking brother die again. Because that was the most emotional that game ever got. It was his brother died. And then in the end, you can choose whether to kill the girlfriend or sleep with the girl. And I'm like, can I just kill both of them? Because that's what I want to do. I want to kill both of them because she is shallow and pretentious and a cardboard caricature of a piece of shit white girl, and this chick's just fucking insane. Probably fucks like a tiger. I'd like to murder her, and then I would like to rule as king. That was my desire for the game, but it didn't give me that option. If it was Skyrim, I could have done that,
That is true.
or I could have foosed your daughter right off my waist mid coitus.
Off of a cliff.
Dude, that would have been the greatest. Can you imagine? She's like Australian, you foosed her dog, and she's gone. Probably like her left leg hits a cliff on the way, and she's like cycling through the air. All the guards that are like standing around during the ceremony look at you and be like, "I've got my eye on you."
All right, so how about this? How about this is becoming a trend, and I do think it's a good thing. What about crossover gaming?
You mean like PC and like consoles sharing the same bedfellows?
Yes, we're talking online gaming, like
So
Rocket League.
here's how I feel about it. So I can't even think about like I can't even think of a game right off the
Rocket
top of my
League.
head. Rocket League. Okay, so I'm not good at Rocket League. Say you get into a team that's randomly compiled, and you got one guy who's on PC, and you got one guy who. Or say we're doing a three team. Okay,
Sure.
you got one guy who's good on PC, you got one guy who's good on Xbox, and you got one guy who's good on PlayStation. How that makes me feel when I am in that situation is I'm like, I'm in the middle and I'm getting yield spit roast.
Yeah.
I am the link between all of these consoles whenever I'm being violated sexually in Rocket League, and I do not like that because I want to be like this guy's computer is better than mine. That's why he's better.
Oh, you want an excuse, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I do. But I mean, like, whenever we're going down the pitch with the cornholing contest, I can't do that. Whenever like everyone's on a different system, and be like, I am just bad at this game. I can't do that. Who can do that? Who can be like? Have you ever played a game and been like, that person's skill is just much higher than mine. That's why he won. It's always because like lag. Sun was in my eyes. I tripped. The baby was crying. You know what I mean?
No, man.
It's something.
No, you just gotta attribute it to I've got a job. I'm an adult. I do things other than play this game, and that's
Can't
how
do
you
it.
sleep at night.
Can't do it. Can't stop. Won't stop. I can't do that. I don't know if I could do that. I'm like, I would really. I mean, like, even if like I'm playing like Overwatch and like I clearly get like outclassed by a tracer, I'm like fucking lag, and it's so stupid because like I haven't had lag issues since I was like 15.
Yeah, this isn't
Like,
dial up anymore.
yeah, I mean, like, it was like back in the day when I'm playing StarCraft, and then someone calls the house, you hear the, and your modem disconnects, and then like all your SCVs are kind of doing the robot, and you literally are ready to murder someone because this ladder match is serious business.
So, okay. Now, I'm gonna say something, and it's gonna piss off the PC master race. We're gonna
Oh.
stop talking about PC versus console. We're just gonna talk about PC because we've been shitting on console this entire podcast. But
It's
I'm
'cause
gonna.
it's easy.
Well, it's easy. It's an easy target.
It's like
So
pistol whipping a blind kid, you know?
now I frequent the PC Master Race subreddit, and I think there's a lot of good stuff on there. And I'm gonna. This is my preface so that I don't get completely crucified. But basically, I agree with 95% of what they say on PC Master Race, and I think it's a good old time on that group, on that community. You know?
It's a good old time on that circle jerk.
Yeah. But I will say this. The i7 over the i5, actually, in their mind, it's the i5 over the i7, which is absolute horseshit. Okay. Now, the Intel i7 is $100 more than the i5. Everybody that has an i7 computer that participates in that subreddit or participates in any discussion and boasts about having an i7 gets immediately castrated by the fucking community. Oh, you're wasting your money. That's too much power. You're never going to use all that. And they don't even ask questions like, do you do anything other than video games? They just say, oh, you spent too much money on your machine. Bitch, it was $100 more. And I do a little bit more than video games. Video games is probably about 50% of what I do on the computer. And guess what? I do all this shit simultaneously. So the i7 comes in handy. And honestly, quit being a cheap ass. Come on. It's $100 more. Fuck off.
Is this how you really feel?
This is how I really feel. And I am not ashamed to have an i7. I'm not.
It is good that you find pride in such things.
And I've had friends, or quote-unquote friends, that have...
You lost friendships over what processor you've chosen?
No. I know people that got on the fucking bandwagon of the PC Master Race and quote-unquote upgraded from an i7 to an i5, and I just wanted to punch them in the fucking face. It's like, come on.
I mean, like realistically, it's not an upgrade, like in any way. And the whole notion of you spend too much money on it. That's not enough. It's too much power that you'll never use. You know that like time still's going, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like like it progresses. So like it might be too much right now. Give it like 3 months. And then you're gonna be like, oh my god, I need to upgrade my processor because shit's just so slow.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't have been a big old fucking dingus and just done it right the first time.
Yeah, you put a little bit more money into your PC. And I'm not talking, the i7 Extreme version where you're spending $1,700 on a damn processor, Frank. But,
oh no, name dropping.
But if you just, kick in another $100, it's a very small investment. Your computer is gonna stay relevant a little bit longer. We're talking probably about a year longer, and I think it's worth it.
I'm trying to remain invested in this conversation because I am that guy. And so you're like, if you just throw another $100 in there, I'm like, well, I mean, you could only throw another $100 in there. I mean, if you only wanted a little bit more power, or you could drop a ton of money in there.
You could, sell your firstborn into slavery and build a badass PC that can run NASA.
You could just be rich too.
Or that.
You could work hard for your money, so you better build it right.
God, I hate you so much. Alright. You got anything else?
I would just like to say that I look down on you from my ivory tower.
Then I'm going to take that as a no.
It's gilded. It's gilded, and I have big pictures of Gabe Newell on my wall.
But as a side note, Frank has bestowed me the honor of building his next computer, and that will be happening soon. We will probably film that. So for people that don't know how to build a computer, that'll come in handy, and people that just want to masturbate furiously to a computer that you'll probably never own, that'll be relevant to your desires as well. So
Yep.
stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But for the meantime, we're gonna wrap this up, and
To add on to that,
oh,
you will be basically be watching Neil put the computer together, and I will be huddled in the corner, being one of you that's jerking off furiously. But I'm taking it home.
I'm not gonna make eye contact.
I'm going to stare.
Well, that's all, folks. Follow us on Twitter. Visit us on dastardlygentleman.com. Like us on Facebook. Do all that shit that, will make this podcast better going forward, and we'll love you for it. And shit, maybe one day we might give out prizes.
Prizes and things.
I don't know.
You do what you feel are good to your sensibilities and making this thing happen.
To our loyal fan base. Thanks, Ryan.
We need to rename this podcast to the Name Dropping Podcast. Some names are being dropped.
Oh, man. All right, well, like you said.
Wait. That's OG Ryan.
OG Ryan. Thanks for listening. And to whoever else might be listening, but
Thank you guys in particular.
Oh, man. Until next time. See you later.
Bye.